What's up guys, so in this video I'm going to go over my Stamplar damage dealer build for the Blackrose Prison. I'll leave a link in the description of the full run in case you wanted to watch that. There should be text on the screen right about now for a general idea of the build. If that's enough for you, you can skip the rest of the video. Otherwise, go ahead and stick around for some detail and input. Hopefully it'll help you out. Into detail about some of the important things about the build I think everyone should know. If I don't answer any questions in the video that you might have had, please feel free to let me know in the comments below if you have any others and I will answer them. So the first set I wanted to go over is War Machine. Here's the short description of it in case you don't know what the set does. But the reason the Stamplar uses this in the group is because their ultimate's really cheap. It's only 71 ult, as opposed to the Sorcerer who has one that's like 160 or something like that. And then the Necro has one that's 250, so their uptime's not very good on it. So we have the Stamplar using it. As you can see right here, I'm using a sword instead of a dagger. I would definitely advise using 2 daggers instead of 1 sword and 1 dagger because it is more damage. I unfortunately did not have a second dagger to use. So as you can see from the enchants, they got nerfed quite a bit ago, so instead of the enchants, you would use double damage poisons on the front bar. They do more damage, so this is why we use them. You can use the enchants if you like, but I would advise using the poisons instead. On the back bar, we have an infused increased weapon damage enchant, which is really good since the uptime on it will always almost be up using Endless Hail, so it's free damage pretty much for us. Use a Maelstrom's bow because it's still best in slot to use, even though it got nerfed. Krog's monster set's pretty self-explanatory, does a lot of damage, but we mainly have it for the one-piece pen. I will go into the penetration in a bit. For Deadly Strike, we have on the body, so we have the 5-piece always active. It got buffed to 20% and it affects all the Stamplar's damaging abilities, so it's a very great set to use. It's probably better to use Two-Fang Snake instead, but I did not have that, so I decided to use Deadly Strike instead. It's very easy to get, and it's cheap in the traders, so it's a good alternative. I have one piece heavy here. It's better to use a full medium, it's more damage, but I didn't have a medium shoulder and I couldn't get one because my RNG is very bad, so I used a heavy piece. It's still pretty nice because you get extra stats and more health and more resistances. All the gear is full divines with max stamina enchants because this is the min-max for the damage. For the jewelry, we have all increase weapon damage enchants, and they are all infused. I found this to be the best as opposed to Bloodthirsty or Robust. You can use Robust or Bloodthirsty though if you like, but I found this to be the best, so this is what I used. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the CP now, at least the pen part, so we understand the penetration more. Alright, so I'm going to be talking about the penetration values real quick. If you want, you can bring out a calculator real quick to do some math as well, but here are the values. So, Major Fracture, you get 5,280 pen. For Minor Fracture, you get 1,320 pen. For Crags, you get 1,487 pen. For the Sharpened Weapon, you get 1,376 pen. For the Infused Crusher, you get 1,620 pen. For the Lover, you get 4,196 pen. And for the CP, you get 4,303 pen that we have here. This leads to a total of 18,962 pen total. So you might be asking why we're overpenning since the pen cap is 18,200. The reason I did this is because the Infused Crusher doesn't always go on any of the ads that they're intended to go on sometimes, so I decided to make that pen up a little bit by overpenning a little bit. Now I'm not too sure if all the bigger ads in the arena are at resistance cap, but I am assuming that they probably are, so this is what I decided would be best. You can go lower pen probably and add it into something like Precise Strikes, might be better to do that, but this is what I had right now. If anyone from PC can enlighten me on some of the resistances in the things in Blackrose Arena, please do let me know, because I don't believe that they're all at pen cap, but just in case they are, I decided to be safe with it. Alright, so the last bit of information I'm going to add is the skills. As you can see, the primary stat for Templar is apparently Magicka. It's really useful, ain't it? Build editor OP for ESO. Anyways, for a spammable, we have Biting Jabs. Pretty self-explanatory, hits really hard and it's easy to use. Gives you minor protection as well every time you use the Atribution Spear ability, so you always have minor protection when you use it. The next skill is Power of the Light. It's a great skill because it gives everyone minor fracture and minor breach for the things you apply it to, which is really good for the penetration. It also does a lot of damage, and another thing about Dawn's Wrath abilities in the passive, it gives everyone 10% spell damage every time you use the ability, so it's good since there's 2 other mag in the group that get more spell damage. The next skill we have is Silver Leash. At times, if you watch the video, you will see me chaining ads with the tank as well. This makes ad pulls a little bit faster, and it also gives you passive weapon damage, as you can see from the Fighter's Guild ability, or skill line. The Slayer passive gives us free weapon damage. Next skill we have Camo Hunter. It also gives us weapon damage having it slotted. The main reason we use it is because every time you hit something from the flank, so behind or the sides, you get Minor Berserk, which is free damage. It's basically like a free slime crawling monster set built into a skill, so it's really strong. The next is Barbed Trap. It's really self-explanatory, hits very hard, you can put it before the portal spawns, so it's free portal damage, and it can root enemies as well, so that's pretty useful too at certain times, as well from the passive. The next skill is the Empowering Sweep Belt. We use this to keep War Machine procced, and it hits really hard. One thing to keep in mind is the more enemies you hit, it increases the duration, so try to hit as many things as you can with it. On the back bar we have Repentance. Repentance allows us to sustain the very high damage, low sustain build, so it's a very useful skill to have. Endless Hail is good cleave. It's not as good as it used to be, but it helps us keep the enchant on the back bar always up so we get the free damage. You can also use it before portals for free portal damage. Echoing Vigor is good heals for the group. You can use Resolving as well, but it might be more detrimental to use that towards the group. Extended Ritual is very good healing, and it lasts a long time. I don't use Ritual Retribution because if you use it on the rounds with the Netches will go crazy on you and start to kill you, since every time they take damage, they start to hit you. Restoring Focus, self-explanatory, you get a bunch of resistances, it's like free shooting, so you can run a damaged monster set instead, and it gives you stamina back every second. We have Empowering Sweep on the back bar as well, because in the Ajax Spear passive, you get 10% more crit damage, just for having it slotted, and we do not have an Ajax Spear ability slotted in the back. That's pretty much all I had to say. This build again is a full damage, no sustain build, so keep that in mind. If you feel you need extra sustain for some reason, then you can add a Stam Recuv enchant to one of your jewelry pieces and then you should be fine and good to go. Thanks for watching, and if you had any questions that I did not answer in the video, feel free to comment below.